We're going to have a look at the French newspapers now. Nick Rushworth is with me here on set. You're going to start off with Le Figaro today, aren't you?
Hi, Stuart. Le Figaro, indeed, the right-leaning left paper in the spectrum of the French newspapers, and here we can see that it's covering the race for the top job in the right wing in France. Here you can see the headline, Folle soirée dans les deux QG. Now, that means a crazy evening in the headquarters of the two camps fighting for the job to replace Nicolas Sarkozy as head honcho, and those two men are Jean-François Copé and François Fillon. Well, what happened is that the race was so close that no result could be called. What the Le Figaro is reporting is that there are two reasons for this. The sort of deadlock about this account is that the serious organisation problems, and then, of course, secondly, allegations of fraud. And the quote in the piece from a UMP person, in fact, is that the UMP, the opposition party, lost a chairman in May, but has now got one chairman too many.
Interesting way of looking at it, isn't it? Le Parisien aujourd'hui in France, they're saying the suspense was incredible, aren't they?
A war of nerves, with each side claiming victory just before midnight Sunday to Monday. There you can see incroyable suspense à l'UMP, and it has a breakdown hour by hour of what happened on Sunday afternoon. By mid-evening, François Fillon was in the lead with about 51% of the vote. Then came these allegations of fraud, which were actually in an area of Nice, the 7th district of Nice. Now, the paper talks to one UMP activist who says, yes, there were very serious problems with organisation. That activist based in Nice itself, Stuart. And she's saying, well, it was Jean-François Copé's fault. He's the Secretary General. He didn't organise enough voting centres. They were not organised well enough. And the paper there in that piece also pointing out that this mess, the one sign of why this was such a mess, of what the extent of this mess, was that François Fillon himself had to queue up for an hour and a half to cast his ballot, presumably for himself, Stuart.
Exactly. He wasn't allowed to queue jump either. One paper going as far as saying it was like something out of Hitchcock.
Well, it's the suspense and the thriller, but also a bit of bloodletting, I suppose, as this is so close. And that's a piece in Les Echos, and a comment piece in that paper, which is usually a business paper, is arguing that there are echoes of the Florida recount in 2000 here, and also a recent leadership scrap in the Socialist Party between Ségolène Royal and Martine Aubry a few years ago. Now, the comment here that caught my eye was that all of this kerfuffle and fluster falls into the hands of one man, and you know who that is, don't you, Stuart? Nicolas Sarkozy, who has been in the background but remains very much a favourite among UMP faithful, and it says he is the real winner because what's emerging here is that there is no real strong contender for the leadership of the party.
OK. Well, the other big story, of course, in the French newspaper is the ongoing conflict in the Middle East.
Well, Le Figaro's correspondent is there in Gaza, and he's reporting that there are pictures of martyrs in the fall against Israel on each street and almost on each house. And that piece there reports that what's happening in this violence, if we take it more broadly, is actually falling into the hands of Hamas. It is gaining from regional changes. It's stronger now than it was 4 years ago when Operation Cast Lead took place. The Le Figaro correspondent saying Turkey, Qatar, Tunisia and Egypt are backing Hamas, and what Hamas is getting through this violence is, in fact, the regional legitimacy it has always craved. And I'm just going to go to Le Parisien aujourd'hui en France again, just to stay with that Gaza story. There it's leading Gaza, fear and fierté, which translates as pride. The photo there is of Palestinians in the streets calling for international help as weaponry hits. And it's saying that they are torn between a feeling of horror at the bombing and support for Hamas, Stuart.
OK, Nick, thank you very much. Nick Rushworth here with the newspapers here on France 24.